Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and also one of the greatest philosophers of the ancient world, once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That quote, though written 2,000 years ago, remains entirely relevant to us today. Every day, we face dozens of situations that cause us to lose our temper. A message that makes us angry, a comment that hurts us, a silence that makes us anxious. And in just a moment, our mind turns into a battlefield of uncontrolled reactions. The world outside will always be noisy, chaotic, and beyond our control. But the Stoics teach that you don't need to control the world. You only need to control yourself. Calmness is not avoidance. It is looking life straight in the eye, with the mindset of someone who knows clearly. There are things we can change, and there are things we can only accept. Today, we will explore 10 Stoic lessons that help you maintain your composure amidst all of life's storms, the key to finding peace of mind. And the first lesson is the foundation of them all. Lesson 1. Control what you can control. Have you ever realized that most of the things that cause us to lose our calm are things we absolutely cannot control? Epictetus once said, "A target shooter can aim very accurately, pull the string very steady, but once the arrow has left his hand, the outcome is no longer up to him." Life is the same. There are things we can do our utmost to achieve, yet the results are not what we expected. And it is precisely when we try to grasp everything that we lose the greatest control over ourselves. We get angry when others don't understand us. We become frustrated when plans fall apart. We worry about the future, about what others think, about things that haven't even happened. We think we are in control, but actually, we are being pulled along, like a small boat trying to steer the ocean. Because in this life, two parallel worlds exist. A world within our reach, where we can control our thoughts, actions, and reactions. The other world, containing things we can never control. The weather, the emotions of others, the outcome of our efforts, or even the way life unfolds. The problem is, we spend most of our energy trying to change the second world, the things we cannot control. We want people to always be kind, life to always be fair, and everything to happen exactly as planned. But that is an illusion, and the more we cling to it, the more we push ourselves into a vortex of exhaustion. When something upsets you, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Because every moment you spend trying to control the uncontrollable is a moment you sacrifice your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do your part well, and as for the rest, let it happen as it must." He did not write that during peaceful days, but amidst the fierce battlefields on the Roman frontier. Amidst the clashing of swords and betrayal, he still chose to keep his mind calm. He couldn't stop the world from changing, but he mastered his attitude toward those changes, and that is what made him great. Calmness is not apathy. It is knowing where to place your energy. The world may unfold as it wishes, but the mind, if you truly master it, can still maintain its own order. When you stop resisting what is beyond your control, you will realize no storm truly comes from the outside. All turmoil originates from within. And when your soul ceases to churn, the world naturally quiets down. Lesson 2. The power of acceptance. Sometimes, life doesn't need major upheaval to exhaust us. Just one small thing, someone breaking a promise, a collapsed plan, a silence longer than usual, is enough to rock our equilibrium. We ask, why? We try to rearrange everything. We want to understand. We want to seize control. But the more we resist, the deeper we get pulled into a feeling of helplessness. People often confuse control with stubbornness. We think that with enough effort, we can make everything go exactly our way. But life has its own rules. Things unfold as they must, not to hurt us, but to remind us that we are not the center of the universe. Some things arrive just to teach us how to let go. Some losses occur not to take things away from us, but to return us to ourselves. Acceptance is not surrender, nor is it extinguishing the fire in your heart. It is how you keep that fire burning longer. When we accept, we are no longer pulled by the world through anger or fear. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and simply sigh, "It has happened, and I will learn how to move through it." Life is like a great current of water. A weak person will struggle in fear and be submerged. A strong person knows when to relax and let go. They stay afloat, they observe, and they let the water lift them instead of fighting against it. True peace doesn't come from things going the right way, but from no longer being afraid when things change direction. A calm mind knows that you can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sails. Acceptance doesn't make you cold. On the contrary, it opens up a new space, where you can view everything with lightness and brighter eyes. You begin to understand that not every good thing comes in the shape you expect. Some things arrive as loss, some in silence, and some when you thought everything was over. When you truly accept, the world ceases to be a frightening place, because you no longer have to struggle to change it. You only need to learn how to be in it, with the composure and stability of someone who understands. What comes, let it come. What goes, let it go. And through all change, we can still find peace. Lesson 3. Be present in every moment. There is a moment in life that everyone has experienced. When you are in a crowd, yet you feel an extraordinary emptiness. The sounds are still ringing, others are still laughing and talking, but inside you feel like you are somewhere else. Your mind is not here. It is wandering among things that haven't happened, or replaying things that should have been closed. We call that living, but in reality, we are just drifting through it. We live as if we have endless time to love, to feel, to listen. But reality is much more fragile. Every morning you open your eyes, someone in the world has just closed theirs for the last time. And the space between those two moments is life itself. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't fear death because they didn't let life pass them by in forgetfulness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. This is not meant to make us fearful, but to remind us, this very moment is the opportunity to live fully. Imagine one afternoon, you leave your phone in your pocket and take a walk. There are no notifications, only the sound of the wind touching your hair and the rhythm of your own footsteps. On the quiet path, sunlight filters through the leaves, casting golden patches onto the ground. In the distance, the innocent laughter of a child rings out, so pure it makes you pause. In that moment, the world suddenly becomes surprisingly simple. No need to record it, no need to prove it. There is only you and the life whispering around you. Presence is the ability to see beauty in the smallest things. A deep breath, a sincere look, a moment of stillness amidst a myriad of sounds. It is not the art of slow living, it is the art of true living. We can do nothing about yesterday, and we cannot guarantee tomorrow. But we can make this moment complete, where everything is happening, where life is truly taking place. And when we learn to be present, every moment becomes a miracle. Not because it is perfect, but because we are present to witness it. Because happiness has never been far away, it is here. Between this breath, among the most ordinary things. We have just been moving too fast to see it. Lesson 4. Turn pain into power. Everyone has to go through life's storms at some point. Some people lose what they cherish most. Some are betrayed, hurt, or watch their efforts collapse overnight. And sometimes, those very cracks make us want to give up, to abandon everything. But the Stoics don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "How can I become stronger because of this?" Seneca once said, "No one is strong who has not been tested." And it's true. Adversity doesn't come to destroy us, but as an opportunity to prove who we are. Adversity is the forge of the will. Like raw iron, only when placed in the red-hot fire does it become durable steel. Humans are the same. When life pushes us into challenges, we have two choices. Let the fire consume us, or let it temper us into steel. Remember the times you stumbled. Back then you thought you would never overcome it. But here you still are, stronger, wiser, and more profound. The wound didn't weaken you. It merely stripped away your illusions of invincibility. And it is from there that you learned how to stand firm, not because the world became gentler, but because you became tougher. Adversity doesn't come to punish, but to test if we dare to live true to our real nature. The Stoics don't wish for an easy life. They only pray for enough strength to go through the difficult days with calmness and benevolence. And then, when you look back at yourself, you realize that within every loss, there is still one thing that cannot be burned away: your will. That is the part no one can take from you, the part born out of suffering, yet carrying the light of perseverance. Strength doesn't come from never having fallen, but from how we rise, with gratitude for the fire that forged us. Lesson 5. Choose your response. Life is not measured by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it. Two people can face the same event. One collapses, and one grows. The difference lies not in fate, but in the reaction. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoics understand that between an event and our response, there is always a pause. And in that pause, if we are aware enough to stop, we find true freedom. Recall a time when someone said a harsh word to you. In that moment, your ego flared up, and an immediate reaction begged to burst out. But then, you paused. Just one breath. A brief silence between instinct and reason. Instead of letting anger lead, you let wisdom speak. The other person might still be cold, but you are no longer swept into their vortex. You maintain your inner peace, and that is the quietest, yet most powerful victory. That is the highest freedom a person can achieve, the power to choose your response. You can't choose how the world treats you, but you can always choose how you respond. And that choice defines who you are. Emotions are merely travelers. They come and go. The important thing is whether we let them control us. A Stoic is not emotionless. They still grieve when they lose, still get angry when hurt, and still fear when facing uncertainty. But they let reason guide their emotions, like someone holding the reins, not tightly restraining, nor loosely letting go, but gently keeping the horse on the right path. When you learn to stop, observe, and choose your reaction, you will realize the world outside no longer has the power to dominate your mind. No one can make you angry unless you allow it. No one can hurt you unless you choose to let it touch you. The moment you choose calmness over explosion, listening over reacting, and reason over instinct, you are no longer governed by temporary feelings, but you begin to master your life. Lesson 6. Desire less, live more. Most people believe that happiness comes from acquiring more. More money, more love, more opportunities, more achievements. But the Stoics teach the opposite. Happiness lies not in having more, but in needing less. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." And it's true. The majority of our suffering does not come from what we lack, but from the belief that we are lacking. Imagine a river. When the river is calm, the surface perfectly reflects the sky. But with just a strong wind or a stone thrown in, the surface immediately becomes murky and the sky disappears. The human mind is the same. Only when we stop struggling can we see the inherent clarity within ourselves. The Stoics view simplicity not as a sacrifice, but as liberation, because they understand that the more we desire, the more we become slaves to those desires. Only when we are content with enough do we truly become masters of our lives. Try to recall a time when you craved something so intensely that you forgot the present. You thought, "If I get it, I will be happy." But then, upon achieving it, the joy dissipated quickly like sea foam, and your mind sought the next goal. It's like a person thirsty at sea. The more salt water they drink, the thirstier they become. The Stoics choose a different path. They don't try to gather the entire sky. They only learn how to gaze at it. They don't want to possess everything. They only learn how to cherish what they have. Because true happiness doesn't come from owning, but from the ability to enjoy. Desiring less does not mean living less. On the contrary, it opens up a new space for us, where the mind is no longer torn apart by must-haves, but is filled with what is. We no longer view life as a desperate race, but as a river to experience. And then we realize life has never lacked anything. We just need the mind to be quiet enough to see that it has been whole all along. Lesson 7. Practice virtue daily. The Stoics believe that the highest goal in life is not wealth, power, or fame, but to live in accordance with virtue. Because everything external can be lost, but inner virtue is the only thing we truly master. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is right, do it. If it is wrong, don't do it, whether anyone sees it or not." That is a reminder that morality requires no audience, and true integrity is measured by the things we do when no one is watching. Living by virtue is not about becoming perfect, but about trying to become a little better each day. It's like polishing a rough stone, little by little, revealing the shape of the goodness within. The Stoics called this arete, the state where a person lives in harmony with reason, integrity, and benevolence. Imagine this. You are walking through a dark room. Others might choose to complain about the darkness, while you choose to light a small candle. That light may be weak, but it's enough to illuminate the path ahead. That is the power of virtue. It doesn't need to be brilliant. It just needs to be consistent. Virtue is demonstrated not just in grand choices, but in the smallest things. When we keep a promise even if no one reminds us, when we treat others kindly even if they don't deserve it, when we choose calmness over winning an argument, and when we live honestly, even with ourselves. The Stoics view every day as a practice, not to become perfect, but to become upright. Not to prove we are better than anyone else, but to ensure that today we don't betray ourselves. Because in the end, virtue is not a cloak to show off, but a slow burning fire that illuminates every action, every word, every thought. So that no matter how chaotic the world is, we still know we are heading in the right direction. Lesson 8. Embrace impermanence. Everything in the world is changing, even when we don't realize it. The sky of yesterday is no longer the sky of today. The water that was once still has changed its course. Even the familiar face in the mirror is changing daily. And then, at some point, we suddenly understand. Nothing truly remains forever. The Stoics do not fear impermanence. They cherish it. Because the very impermanence of life makes every moment more sacred. If everything were eternal, we would no longer know how to value anything. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Everything is fading away right now. Live as if everything you love is fragile." That quote reminds us to be vigilant, that every passing moment is a part of life. So love each moment as if it were the last. Impermanence teaches us gratitude. Because we cannot hold on to the sunrise forever, we learn to gaze at it more completely. We cannot keep someone by our side eternally, so we learn to love them more deeply while we still can. And we cannot keep life as we wish, so we learn to smile at the changes. The Stoics do not fight change. They learn to accept it as an inevitable necessity, because change itself makes life more vibrant and meaningful. Embracing impermanence is not surrender, it is awakening. It is known that loss does not steal value. It only reminds us that everything is precious. And when we understand that, we learn how to live fully in every moment. Lesson 9. Cultivate gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, you have two things to choose: to look at what you don't have, or to look at what you do have. The Stoics chose the latter. They don't wait for life to become perfect before being grateful. They are grateful even when things are incomplete, because it is precisely within that incompleteness that life continues to bloom. Seneca once said, "No one can be happy who does not accept his life as it is." Gratitude does not erase difficulties, but it illuminates our minds enough to walk through the darkness. Gratitude does not require grand gestures. It begins with the smallest things, things we take for granted, but which are a dream for others. A person who lost their legs wishes only to walk one more time. A blind person wishes only to see the face of a loved one once. A homeless person wishes only for a roof to shelter them from the sun and rain. And we, who have legs to walk, eyes to see the world, a home to return to, sometimes forget that we have so much to love. Gratitude does not mean pretending that everything is fine. It does not deny sadness, nor does it dismiss loss. It simply chooses a different perspective, to see that, even amidst suffering, there is still some good that is present, waiting for us to recognize it. When gratitude becomes a habit, we realize that this life has never owed us anything. Every breath, every person we meet, every day we get to live, is a gift. Let every day begin not just with a to-do list, but with a word of thanks. Thank you for being here, for still having time to live, to love, to be better than yesterday. Gratitude does not change the world around us, but it changes the world within us. And when the inner world is illuminated, everything else naturally becomes gentler. Lesson 10. Keep evolving. Humans are not born to be perfect, but to never stop evolving. The Stoics understand that we cannot control where we start, but everyone can choose their own direction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be one." That quote is not just a reminder, but a guiding principle for a meaningful life. Self-improvement doesn't mean changing to become someone else. It means returning to the best part within yourself, the rational, courageous, and upright human that is always present, even if sometimes buried by fear and habit. The Stoics don't aim to become magnificent. They just want to take one more step each day, to be less weak than yesterday, less impulsive, less afraid, and to live closer to the values they believe are right. Imagine life as a mountain. The summit is not for the fastest climber, but for the most patient one. The person who keeps stepping, even with tired legs, even with headwinds, even without seeing the finish line. Every stumble is a lesson. Every hurt is a stair-step. And only when we learn how to stand up on our own 2 feet do we truly know how strong we are. The journey of self-improvement is not a smooth path, but a continuous cycle of reflection, correction, and patient training. It requires us to bravely look at our own shortcomings, and instead of running away, to learn how to face, accept, and transform them. The Stoics don't fear change. They fear standing still. Life is an endless flow, and so are humans. When we stop learning, stop striving, the energy within us begins to deplete. None of us knows how much time we have left, but we always have the right to choose how to live that time fully. That is the Stoic spirit, living not to find happiness, but to become a person of value. Happiness is merely the consequence of a soul growing daily, in both light and shadow. Keep moving forward, even if the road ahead is long. Because every step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the very person you were born to become. These 10 lessons are not just philosophy. They are a journey from chaos to calm, from reaction to choice, from fear to inner freedom. We learn to control what's in our grasp, accept what's beyond our ability, live fully in the present, let adversity temper us, and keep the fire of virtue burning. We learn to embrace change, be grateful for what we have, and continue to move forward, steady and clear-sighted, even when the path ahead is filled with obstacles. The Stoic spirit is not found in grand theories, but in how we live every day. Life may not get easier, but your mind, if trained correctly, will become stronger. If this journey has resonated with you, continue to join us, where every video is a small reminder to return to yourself, and every lesson is a torch illuminating another corner of your soul. Please subscribe, leave your thoughts, and together let's spread the Stoic spirit so that every day we move closer to true peace and freedom.